Today, we would call them a dysfunctional family. There is so much treachery and so many lies piled on top of lies that we can hardly believe it. Our problem is we know the story so well it doesn't fully sink in just how awful the story really is. Parental favoritism at its worst. Treachery on a level we can't imagine in a family unit. And once again, we read a story about one of the patriarchs that is simply staggering in its level of betrayal and dishonesty. And, once again, it is the deceitful one who becomes the blessed one. Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your daily devotional for Tuesday, October 17th, 2023. Yesterday we saw how Jacob tricked his brother Esau out of his birthright. The story is ambiguous enough in its judgment to tempt us to give Jacob a bit of a pass. After all, Esau willingly gave up his birthright just because he was hungry. And the writer of the story seems to blame Esau more than Jacob. Not so in today's story. Both Jacob and his mother Rebekah reveal themselves to be schemers of the worst sort. The story is a bit lengthy, so let me summarize most of it. Isaac is old and knows death cannot be far away. He's grown blind in his old age. He calls Esau to his bedside and asks him to go on a hunt and make him a stew from the game he kills and then bring it to Isaac, who promises to give Esau his blessing. Rebekah was listening in on the conversation and hatches a plan to steal Esau's blessing for Jacob. Remember from yesterday's episode that Isaac favored Esau while Rebekah favored Jacob. So Rebekah instructs Jacob to take his father a stew that she will make for him and receive Esau's blessing. When Jacob asks how he'll fool his father into believing that he's Esau and not Jacob, Rebekah tells him to go and put on Esau's clothes. When he protests that his father will know that he's Jacob because, unlike his hairy brother Esau, he's not covered in hair, she puts skins of a lamb on his arms and on his neck to fool Isaac. So far, Rebekah comes off as the schemer, and Jacob, the weak follower who lacks the spine to do what is honorable and the backbone to stand up to his mother. But now, Jacob shows himself to be equally scheming. Listen to the conversation between Jacob and Isaac when Isaac goes into his tent to serve him the stew and take Esau's blessing. So he went into his father and said, "My father." And he said, "Here I am. Who are you, my son?" Jacob said to his father, "I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done as you told me. Now sit up and eat of my game so that you may bless me." But Isaac said to his son, "How is it that you have found it so quickly, my son?" He answered, "Because the Lord your God granted me success." Then Isaac said to Jacob, "Come near that I may feel you, my son, to know whether you are really my son Esau or not." So Jacob went up to his father Isaac, who felt him and said, "The voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau." He did not recognize him because his hands were hairy like his brother Esau's hands. So he blessed him. He said, "Are you really my son Esau?" He answered, "I am." Then he said, "Bring it to me that I may eat of my son's game and bless you." So he brought it to him, and he ate, and he brought him wine, and he drank. Then his father Isaac said to him, "Come near and kiss me, my son." So he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his garments and blessed him. You see here how Jacob compounds his deceit with a series of lies, knowing that Isaac suspects something is not right. And sure enough, as a result of this deception and the lies he tells, he receives Esau's blessing. Two things very quickly to note. First, a blessing is different from a birthright. The birthright was the oldest son's share of the family property and the right to continue the official family lineage. A blessing, on the other hand, was understood to have power to determine one's future. Think of it as a kind of wish for someone like that ancient Irish blessing. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, and may rains softly fall upon your fields. Only with an ancient blessing, it is not only a wish for good things, it was also seen to contain the power to bring the blessing about. It had a sort of mystical power to determine the future course of the Blessed One's life. In this case, part of the blessing included Isaac's intention for Esau's place among his brothers. Let peoples serve you, and nations bow down to you. Be Lord over your brothers, and may your mother's sons bow down to you. But now this blessing has been inadvertently given not to Esau, but to Jacob. And the blessing once made could not be rescinded. That's what made Jacob's theft of Esau's blessing so treacherous. Indeed, after breaking the awful news to Esau, Isaac calls Jacob back and added to his blessing, saying, "May God Almighty bless you and make you fruitful and numerous, that you may become a company of peoples. May he give to you the blessing of Abraham, to you and to your offspring with you, so that you may take possession of the land where you now live as an alien, land that God gave to Abraham." This raises then a second question. Knowing what we know about Jacob and his character, why on earth would this latter blessing be bestowed upon Jacob? Why does the trickster get to play such a prominent role in our faith? Could it be a sign to us that God's grace cannot be earned or bought? Could it be a reminder that God's blessing is pure gift and not a reward for supposed good behavior? Jacob is indeed a scoundrel and a trickster, but in his story we see our own story, and we see God's unmerited grace on full display. Good news indeed. Tomorrow, the schemer dreams a dream. But for now, may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.